The Syracuse Saltcats back in action after taking down the Sherrill Silversmiths in a beatdown 10-3 yesterday. I'm Charlie Benami. To my right is Tyler Aiken. And Tyler, a really solid game from the Saltcats today, but now they face, just for the second time this season, the head and shoulders top of the NYCBL early in the season.
They do, taking on the Rochester Ridgemen today. Look, the Saltcats, the pitching has been shut down all season. First, second, or third in pretty much any team pitching stat. Hitting was really rough earlier in the year, and it's been climbing up and up and up. If the bats are moving today for the Saltcats, that's the key to victory. Pitching will be fine. Hitting is going to be the X factor, Charlie.
Yeah, this team is good. It just seems every game that you look through in the schedule from Rochester up to this point, just tons and tons of runs. And tasked with stopping them is Jake Lanzer. Lanzer recently committed to Stonehill, and he gets his first pitch over the inner third of the plate for a strike. Lanzer a 6.42 ERA in 3 appearances, 2 of which were starts. Mills flies that one foul and makes it 1-1. Oh, and 2 rather. Lanzer quick advantage over Mills. He winds up and delivers. That's outside. Make it 1-2. Mills batting .371 on the year. One of the most prolific hitters in this lineup. He sits on a 1-2 fastball from Lanzer to get the count to 2-2. Two-two pitch swung on and fouled back towards the backstop. Mills has reached base in every single game for the Ridgemen that he's appeared in. 2-2 pitch. Another fastball high, and after getting ahead 0-2, Jake Lanzer finds himself in a full count to start the evening off. Lanzer hasn't pitched longer than 2 2/3 innings, so early big counts could hurt him. Payoff pitch fouled back into the netting. Count stays full. Lanzer a lefty, Mills a righty. Be Mills followed by Gomez Jr. and Grabansky in this first inning for the Ridgemen. Payoff pitch part 2. Another fastball high, and Jake Lanzer's day starts unceremoniously a walk after getting ahead 0-2 on Cooper Mills.
Charlie, I'm not surprised at all by that. Mills is such a disciplined batter. 7 strikeouts this season. That's walk number 17. He's great at working counts, being patient when he needs to be, and aggressive at other times. That was a heck of an at-bat to start the day for Rochester.
And it's unfair, but you get into this Rochester lineup very quickly. Rafael Gomez Jr. is probably the most prolific hitter in all of the NYCBL this season. 32 for 77, 8 extra base hits, and once he gets on base, he's even more dangerous. His game isn't really smack it out of the park, but rather he has 27 steals in 21 games played. He had 5 a couple nights ago against Genesee, so he is just a dynamo on the base paths. Lanzer stares down Mills and fires. It's a bunt. Lanzer going to try and field it. Instead, Gaskin will have to glove it. No chance at either play. Making a turn was Mills. Gaskin threw over to to Stokes to check on him, and he tagged on the left leg, but Mills was into second base.
When you got speed like that, you can bunt for a single. Just that was not a bunt to advance Mills. That was a bunt for a hit by Gomez. You listed off all the statistics. He is absolutely the MVP of the NYCBL at this point in the season by a pretty sizable margin. Number 2, though, I will say probably the second baseman for the Saltcats today, Caden Gaskin.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you say that because these teams use Gaskin and Gomez Jr. in very similar ways. They're high average, they're get on base, and they have the steal sign almost every time they're on. Obviously, as we see a little conversation between the Rochester third base coach and the umpire, not quite sure if we have a injury or what's being checked on right now, but it's as good a time as any to introduce you to the Salt Cat defense. From right to left in the infield, it's Murdoch at first base. He's finally getting to play first, some relief from that arm injury that kept him at DH only. Second, it's Caden Gaskin playing shortstops Matt Stokes. Over at third, Chris Holcraft. Doing the catching duties is Connor Riley. In the outfield from right to left, it's Ryfogle at the 9 spot. In center field, it's Matt Rinaldi and Shane Williams in left.
And Murdoch played very well yesterday at first. He seems like he didn't miss a beat in his time out from the field. Shouldn't see any issues today, Charlie.
And also, now you can get Ryan Gonzalez days off without having to put a person who's not used to playing first base over at first base. Lanzer comes home. Both runners are going. Grabansky pops it up into center field. Rinaldi gets under it. Both runners are going to get back into the bases. It was a very high fly ball. If that was more of a line drive, the hit and run could have ended up really hurting the Ridgemen. Instead, no skin off their back, just one out.
Right fielder, University of North Georgia, number 11, Jorge Arispero.
Arispero gets his first at-bat of the day with runners on first and second and one out in the top of the first here at the Onondaga Baseball Stadium. Lanzer comes home with a breaking ball, and that one was way high. Make it 1-0. Connor Riley getting the start at catcher tonight, and he had to extend his arm as far as it would go to keep that from going to the backstop.
I mean, with the speed of Mills and Gomez, there's a chance that there's a score if that hits the backstop. So, pretty big stop by Riley.
Lanzer fires. Another breaking ball. Both players are stealing, and the throw by Riley is into the outfield. Coming home to score is Mills. Right behind him is Gomez Jr. Stokes throwing home, not in time. And the Rochester Ridgemen are off to a quick start.
I really think if you're Riley, knowing the speed on the bases, you got to hesitate there. Mills was pretty much at third by the time he threw. He was not going to record an out most likely there. Just eat it, except that they're at second and third. There's just too high of a risk for not much of a reward. You have one out. If that ended the inning, it would be one thing. If that was out number 3, it would be one thing. That's out number 2. I think Riley needs to show a bit more restraint there.
Definitely. It's a tough play because you think you have a shot, and he did, as Arispero goes down 1-2 on a swing and a miss. But you don't make the play. It's just such a bang-bang play, and if it doesn't go perfectly for you, it can go very bad, and we saw that there. Arispero laces the 1-2 into center field, coming over to get it. It was right center, and Ryfogle is in there. 2 outs in the top of the first, but not before 2 earned runs are on the board. Although, I don't know if those would be unearned on an error.
It's going to go down as an E2, actually. So, I mean, hey, the ERA is protected for Lanzer, but I'm sure you'd much rather have this game be 0-0.
Most definitely. So now after some hectic sequences, the bases are clear. It's 2-0 Ridgemen. And next hitter is C.J. Phelps. He takes a fastball on the outer third for a strike. Lanzer takes an 0-1 advantage. Phelps swings and misses at the breaking ball from Lanzer. 0-2 advantage for Jake. Phelps had a really good day yesterday in this stadium, taking on the Spartans. 2 for 3 with an RBI, a walk, and a stolen base. He looks to keep the inning going here. 0-2 pitch is high. He takes. 1-2 is the count. Phelps, one of many on this team who have attended Monroe Community College over in Rochester. 1-2 pitch Fouled off. Looked like Riley had it in his mitt, but just barely foul tipped by Phelps.
He might have had a decent amount of tip on that because it looks like Riley caught that right in his quad and he went down in pain for a few seconds. Seems all right, but
And Dr. Pissick was ready. He was probably in the, not in the infield, but halfway there from the dugout. Action instead of reaction out of the Salt Cats trainer. Lanzer comes home. 1-2 is lifted foul over the netting and towards the Rochester dugout and bullpen. Phelps 280 on the season, 7 for 25. 1-2. That swung on and missed. It won't be without some runs, but Jake Lanzer gets out of the inning. It's 2-0 Richmond heading into the bottom of the first. Salt Cats Baseball back on the NYCBL Digital Network. It's Charlie Benami with Tyler Aiken. And we get our first look at Bradley Wagner. Actually, we saw him as a hitter in Game 1 of the season. Game 1 against the Richmond and Game 1 in general was the NYCBL opener for the Salt Cats when they lost to the Richmond 6-5, had a 5-0 lead, and gave up 6 unanswered. In that game, Bradley Wagner went 0 for 4 with 2 Ks. Today, he's the pitcher, and he's coming off one of his best start, was his only start. He started off in the bullpen for the Richmond. Was doing all right, got a start against Sherrill on June 23rd and was electric. 6 innings with just 4 base runners allowed and an earned run. His first pitch misses outside. Second to Caden Gaskin is fouled off the plate. 1-1.
how about Gaskin yesterday getting his first home run of the season? It was a beautiful solo shot on, I think, the second pitch he saw in yesterday's game. So showing off he has power, too, as well as speed, contact. I mean, he does everything. He's just an all-around player, and power added for the first time yesterday.
He took there, 1-2, and swings and misses on the 1-2 delivery. Bradley Wagner gets his day going quick. Strikeout of the first Salt Cat batter. And you know what I noticed there, Tyler?
What?
Bradley works very fast.
He acts like there's a pitch clock out there. It's insane.
You have some guys who, even if there's no clock or anything, are going to go quick. Wagner's one of those, and he gets Matt Rinaldi to swing on a knee through the 0-0 fastball, make it 0-1. Wagner committed to University of Texas Permian Basin. His 0-1 is dribbled into center field. Matt Rinaldi has the first hit of the day for the Salt Cats. Connor Riley next up. The defense for Rochester, from left to right in the outfield, it's Gomez Jr., Blakestad, and Araspuro. At third, it's Mills at shortstop, Steckow at second base, Phelps at first, and Nolan at third. As the first pitch is a strike to Connor Riley. Doing the catching duties is Dustin Eisenogel. Wagner checked back at Rinaldi there. Rinaldi has 9 steals on the season, third on the Saltcats, so he's a person you have to pay attention to. Wagner comes home. Breaking ball catches the outer third. 0-2 advantage on Connor Riley. Riley was 2 for 5 with 3 steals, a season high yesterday. 0-2 pitch. It's a pitch out, but the throw by Eisenogel takes a couple of bounces before it gets to the second baseman, Steckow, and Rinaldi's in there with his 10th steal of the year.
You're talking about Rinaldi's steals there. You're also talking about Riley's steals earlier. His day yesterday officially puts him not in first in the whole league, but he now leads all the catchers in the NYCBL with 13 steals.
I mean, that's just a ton for a catcher. Small lead off of first for Rinaldi. 1-2 count to Riley. Here comes the pitch. That's an off-speed pitch that misses low. Count elevates to a neutral 2-2. Wagner. Delivers out of the stretch. Breaking ball just a bit low. Full count to Connor Riley. Runner in scoring position, less than 1 out. A big pitch coming up. With the Saltcats already down 2-0. Payoff pitch is outside, and the Cats have 2 runners on with 1 out.
Big opportunity for Murdoch now. He's had a down year in terms of batting average. Had just a 1 for 5 day yesterday. He's batting 200 this year. I think he's a better hitter than that. The stats aren't showing it, but now would be a great time to help tie this game up.
Murdoch in a 2 for 14 slump, and he turns on the first pitch he sees and fouls it towards the Rochester bullpen. Went 1 for 5 yesterday with a single against Sherrill. Got some speed on the base paths. Second and third on steals on the team. Wagner comes home and misses high to even the count at 1. Riley and Rinaldi both have leads. Murdoch takes a borderline strike off the outside corner, 1-2. Two-strike offering is lifted into left field. Racing towards it is Gomez Jr. He can't make the play. It comes out of his glove. Rinaldi makes the turn home. He was coming back because he thought it was caught. Whole score. Riley only gets to second, but Jay Murdoch with an RBI single, and the Cats cut the deficit in half.
Yeah, I mean, I get he got a glove out there on it and left, but that was a very tough play to make. I'm comfortable calling that a hit.
Yeah.
Looks like the scoreboard agrees with us on that one.
The fact that he was there as quick as he got to it for Gomez Jr. just is a sign of how unbelievable his speed is. But, again, would have been a tough play. Almost made it. Instead, the Saltcats cut the deficit in half. Wagner's first pitch to Chris Holcraft is taken outside and away and low.
Talk about another guy that has been hit on a streak. This one much more positive than Murdoch. Has 2 home runs in the last 3 games.
1-0 delivery. That gets over. Make it 1-1. Holcraft is on a 7-game hitting streak. He's 11 for 27 in that time with the 2 home runs that Tyler mentioned along with 2 doubles. So really starting to find that power swing in the middle of the season. Wagner comes home. Breaking ball gets over the plate. 1-2 advantage to Holcraft. If you're Holcraft, you certainly want to get this one in play at least. Move the runners, but ideally it would be a hit. He does smack one into center field to Blakestad, but it'll hang up there. And Blakestad retires him with the catch in center field. Looked like Holcraft was going to have some sort of hit there, but hung up in the air. Blakestad was well positioned. It's 2-1 still. Jacob Caruso, another guy. You just have 2 guys in this lineup back-to-back who are on fire. He has an 8-game hitting streak, 14 for his last 27. Runners on first and second. Wagner comes home, and Caruso takes high, 1-0. Wagner offers. Chopper hit to Steckow. He gets it on a knee, throws to first, and gets the play. It's 3 outs, but not before the Saltcats get 1 run in on a Jay Murdoch single. It's 2-1 heading into the top of the 2nd inning. Charlie Benami and Tyler Aiken bring you NYCBL Baseball on the NYCBL Digital Network. It's Rochester and Syracuse. The Ridgemen with a 2-1 lead. And Alec Blakestad followed by Dustin Eisenogle and Cade Nolan scheduled to bat in the top of the 2nd inning against Jake Lanzer. Blakestad takes the first pitch. 1-0. Delivery from Lanzer, swung on and missed by Blakestad. Elevates the count to 1-1. Blakestad was 2 for 4 with a triple, an RBI, and 3 runs scored when these teams played on June 6th. He takes a strike on the outer third of the plate to fall down 1-2 to Lanzer. Here comes the 2-strike pitch. Swung on and whiffed on Jake Lanzer. Back-to-back strikeouts. He was able to K C.J. Phelps to end the first inning and starts his second inning with a strikeout of Alec Blakestad.
You mentioned earlier that keeping the pitch count down will be very important for Lanzer. That type of at-bat, as well as the one he ended the first inning with, were perfectly ideal for him.
You can get strikeouts and still maintain a low pitch count. It's just you can't get into those 3-2 counts that turn into walks that give you another batter, which is actually how the at-bat with Cooper Mills went to start this game. Eisenogel, the catcher, takes the first pitch on the outside corner, 0-1. It's been a rough year for Eisenogel. He started the year 0 for 13, has been a little better recently, 5 for his last 17. 0-1 pitches outside, make it 1-1. Eisenogel, one of those guys who had eye-popping college stats as he strokes one into right center field just over a reaching try of Caden Gaskin. And it will not be a clean inning for Jake Lanzer. Another two-way player for this Rochester team. Cade Nolan steps into the box. Nolan, 9 for 30 on the season. He's also added 5 walks for a 395 OBP. First pitch to him. Swung on and missed. Jake Lanzer generating a lot of that thus far. Eisenogel, decent-sized lead. He has just 1 steal on the season. 0-1 offering. Breaking ball. Just misses a little bit low. Count evens at 1. Lanzer checks. Once again, checks first and makes a throw back to Jay Murdoch. Eisenogel didn't even slide back in, was able to just walk right back into the base. No tag applied by Murdoch. Lanzer's 1-1. Ripped into left field past a diving try of Chris Holcraft. Back-to-back singles. And the Ridgemen have a runner in scoring position with less than 2 outs for the second inning in a row to start this game.
You see, this is where Lanzer's gotten into trouble in the past. I would have liked to maybe see Evan Plant, the pitching coach, come out and have a short chat with him, especially because this is your last batter before the top of the lineup, only 1 out on the board. You got to go with specific pitches here. I think you're looking for a ground ball and a double play ball. I mean, obviously that's ideal, but you want some more conversation leading into it.
David Stechow, the batter. He takes the first pitch high, 1-0. Stechow, just 1 plate appearance versus the Cats. Took a walk. Lanzer's 1-0. Once again, draws a cut and a miss from Stechow. Eisenogel and Nolan are the runners on first and second. It's the top of the second, a 2-1 lead for the Ridgemen. 1-1, 1 out. Here comes the pitch. Taken low by Stechow. Stechow hitting just 186. Wouldn't have been expected after the college season. He had 351 in 148 bats for Kalamazoo College. Actually, the double play duo today, as that one is a dribbler up the middle. Gaskin slides and makes the play at second by himself. No time for the throw to first. But actually, as that gets 2 outs for Lanzer, Stechow and Cooper Mills are playing shortstop and third today, and they are both from Kalamazoo College, and both started at those positions for the majority of the season. So on defense, a little bit of commonality and comfortability between the middle infielders, which could lead into a few more double plays being turned.
And speaking of double plays, really appreciate that Gaskin didn't throw to first. He had no shot. Stechow was there. Smart play, way to eat it, unlike the Riley throw in the first.
Leadoff hitter Mills takes a strike on the inner third to get the at-bat going 0-1. Eisenogel at third, Nolan at first. Or rather, Stechow at first. Nolan was retired at second. Throw back to first. They're going to come home. Murdoch throw to Riley, and they have Eisenogel outside of the base path. Saltcat defense gets it going to retire the runners on the base path. Trying to go home was Dustin Eisenogel, and he found no luck. We'll be back for the bottom of the second as the Saltcats look to bridge the one-run gap. Shane Williams leads things off for the Saltcats in the bottom of the second. It's him, followed by Reifogel, followed by Stokes. The bottom third of the Syracuse lineup.
In the second, the left fielder out of South Bay Regina, number 22, Shane Williams.
Williams a lefty, and he takes the first pitch from Wagner outside to go up 1-0.
Williams has completely changed how this season was going for him. Was batting around 100 to start the year, now batting 280. It's been a very impressive rise for him, and he's been getting more playing time because of it.
He took inside 1-1. Here comes the 1-1 delivery. That's low and inside. He had to scoot his feet back a bit and goes ahead 2-1. 2-1 pitch, cracked into left field and down for a base hit. Shane Williams continues to swing a piping bat. One of a few Saltcats really feeling it right now. And this time the first runner comes with no outs.
I'm curious, you got all the hitting streak stats. Do you know what hit streak he has now after that one?
6.
That's his sixth. This is his sixth in a row now?
I have to check. Yeah, this was 6th game in a row with a
Good
hit.
for him.
And it was never like he was doing poorly because he was taking so many walks. It was like 0 for 11 with 7 walks taken. But
Yeah,
it's
the
good for him.
OBP's always been great.
It's Jared Reifogel up, and he takes a fastball over the middle for a strike. 0-1. Reifogel, another guy who's starting to see things go a little better. 4 for his last 10 after just 4 hits in his first 25 at-bats. Didn't start in either of the last 2 games. Pitches outside, but the back pick attempt nearly gets Shane Williams.
Yeah, Williams has been very aggressive on the bases this year, but it hasn't really paid off. 3 stolen bases. He's been caught twice. That's not a very good ratio, Charlie.
It's not what you're looking for as Wagner once again throws back. Phelps applies the tag, but not in time. One offering. Chopped foul down the right field line and out of play. 1-2 advantage for Wagner. Wagner committed to University of Texas Permian Basin in the Division II Lone Star Conference, so yet to play an inning of college baseball, but will do so at the Division II level next spring. Small leadoff first for Williams. Wagner peers at him and comes home. And that pitch just a bit high. You know, with a 1-2 count, I appreciate that Rifle has that good of an eye. Might want him swinging there, though.
Already a shorter guy. He ducked a little bit to help with the call. He was smart about that, and he knew what he was doing.
2-2 is rocketed into center field, and it's down for a base hit once again. Back-to-back singles from the 7 and 8 hitters get the Saltcats in action in the bottom of the second.
You hit it perfectly. The Saltcats have struggled this year with the top of the lineup getting a bunch of runs, the bottom of the lineup really struggling at times. This is something the Saltcats have to capitalize on. I can't think of the last time a 7 and 8 hitter for Syracuse had hits back-to-back.
It's Matt Stokes who will try and bring him in. Stokes was 1 for 2 with a walk and a stolen base the last game he got an at-bat. That was against Cortland a couple nights ago. He's 3 for 8 over his last 4 games. He's ahead 1-0 as he looks to square a bunt. Pulls back the bunt on the second pitch of the at-bat to go ahead 2-0. This is a dangerous spot for Wagner because regardless of what happens here, unless you can get a double play ball, it seems like you'll have crowded bases for the top of the order. And the way this Syracuse team has been hitting lately, just simply something you don't want. Stokes again scoring for the bunt 2-0. This time he's going to put it down. A dribbler that Eisenogle is going to have no chance to throw anywhere but first. Shane Williams comes home. The tag doesn't get him. Reifogel gets to third. Oh, wow. So it was frisky base running that helped Syracuse get out of the first inning. They do something very similar in the bottom of the second, but this time it works out.
Yeah, I was just talking about Shane Williams. He can be a risky runner, making it all the way from second to home on a bunt. How about that? It works out sometimes, and to tie up the game, he's got to be feeling good.
It's Caden Gaskin at the dish. Takes the first pitch, a breaking ball outside to go up 1-0. Reifogel on third. So another runner 90 feet from home with less than 2 outs. As Gaskin once again sits on a pitch, this time a fastball that barely misses the outside corner. He goes ahead 2-0. Gaskin struck out his first time up. It's a breaking ball that kind of got him on a half swing from Wagner. 2-1 pitch. That one is sliced the other way into right field. Reifogel will score. And the Saltcats have a lead over the first place Ridgeman in the bottom of the second inning.
And this is the type of inning they needed. Stokes, really smart sacrifice bunt. Now you get to the top of the order. You can let them swing away. And another RBI for Gaskin. You got the top of the order up, runners on, just 1 out. The Saltcats can keep pouring on runs here. The more the better.
3 singles and a sac bunt so far. It's Matt Rinaldi now. Wagner checks back at first with Gaskin. Tag applied to his back by Phelps, but no out. Rinaldi tied for the NYCBL lead in doubles. One here would certainly score Gaskin as he has to move his shoulder away for the 1-1 pitch that comes inside. It's 1-0 for Matt. Rinaldi 20 hits, second on the team to only Caden Gaskin. Wagner's 1-0 is a lofted foul down the left field line. Count elevates to a neutral 1-1.
Rinaldi's smarter than that. That was so wacky. He showed bunt, pulls back, takes a hack at it, and it just wasn't a great swing. Bunt if you're gonna bunt, swing if you're gonna swing. Don't go between the two.
Wagner comes home. Once again, lofts one down the left field line towards the Syracuse dugout and out of the reach of the approaching Cade Nolan and Cooper Mills. Still just one out here. Gaskin hasn't made a move yet. 4 pitches into the count, and the way we've seen CG run, as often as we've seen, pickoff this time almost got him. Phelps applied the tag to his right shoulder, and Gaskin was just barely in there. He was picked off against Cortland after getting on to start the game 2 days ago. 2-strike delivery. Grounded to first base and past a diving try of Adrian Phelps. Gaskin's going to go first to third on the single to right field. And the leadoff hitters setting the table for Connor Riley to have first and third with 1 out.
The Saltcats, 5 batters this inning. 4 singles and a sac bunt. It's just a beautiful game of hitting so far. You know what I said before the game? Pitching will be fine. Hitting is the key. The Saltcats keep hitting like this. I'm going to predict a Syracuse win. Rochester needs to figure them out.
It's a Rochester team that you can never really count out, and that's because they just have an explosive offense. But getting these runs early, especially after going down 2-0, we've seen some of those early deficits against teams like Cortland spiral. So at the very least, making this competitive is good. Gaskin running on the bunt attempt, or rather Rinaldi. He's out at second base. A swift tag applied by Stechow. And don't love that, especially with a runner on third with Gaskin. Essentially any ball in play scores him. Going with a steal, it's a tough call. 1-1 from Wagner. That's over the plate. 1-2 advantage for him.
It's hot corners. I like the Rinaldi's fast. I like the steal second. See if you can get Gaskin home. The issue was he slid well too early. He would have been safe if he slid later, but then the tag came in, and it's just a weird kind of slip up there by Rinaldi.
1-2 pitch by Wagner is yanked outside on the lefty batter's box. Required Eisenogel to really extend. 2-2 pitch, lofted into center field. Blakestad barely has to move and gets under it. So the Saltcats get runs for the second inning, this time 2. They now lead 3-2 heading into the third.
Your Saltcats lead.
Charlie Benami alongside Tyler Aiken. Top of the third inning after the Salt Cats took a 3-2 lead via some complimentary baseball in the bottom of the second. It's the leadoff hitter in the top three in the order this inning. Mills takes one over the plate for a strike. Didn't like that call. Oh, 1 from Lanzer. Another fastball over the plate. 0-2 advantage. Two-strike delivery. That's a bit high. 1-2 to Cooper Mills. Mills drew a walk his first time up. He was down 0-2, fought back to 4 balls in a row. And that pitch by Lanzer gets the outer third, called strike, and a ring up by the home plate umpire of Cooper Mills.
That's a great pitch when you're up 1-2 from Lanzer. I think he's looked better and better in each outing this year, and this is certainly the most, I'd say, most mature he's looked on the mound this year, Charlie.
I like that a lot, just in terms of showing maturity through his pitch selection, through how he's been handling the batters, and even how he dealt with some early trouble. Rafael Gomez Jr., the next hitter, he takes low and inside to get ahead of Lanzer 1-0. Gomez Jr. singled to get things going and scored a run in the first inning. And Lanzer beans him in the back right on that number 1. Gomez Jr. kind of hopping around to take the pain away. And he'll get to first base via the hit by pitch.
He actually has now been hit by 6 pitches this year, which ties the league high. How do you get hit by 6 pitches through like 25 games? What?
I think guys really try to attack him inside. He's good at taking the ball the other way, so going inside, force him to pull, and things like that happen. Joey Grabanski, the third hitter, waits to get his first pitch because Lanzer checked in on Gomez Jr. at first. Grabanski flew out to the center fielder his last time up. And he takes the first pitch. Gomez Jr. running, tagged by Gaskin. Oh, just a millisecond off. It was a really good throw by Connor Riley. It didn't matter, though. For a second, it looked like he had him. Grabanski, 27 homers and 85 RBIs in 58 games at the NAIA level this season. 1-0 from Lanzer to him. That's a strike. Coming to steal third is Rafael Gomez Jr., and he swims over the tag of Holcraft. Holcraft, though, ended up losing it at the end of the play.
I think if Holcraft gloves that ball, there's a good chance that he actually records the out there. That's tough, and a much better throw from Riley to first than Riley to third than we saw in the first. His throws have been better and better. I think that was a fluke earlier in this game, and Holcraft really has to apply that tag.
So 2 stolen bases in as many pitches for Gomez Jr. Grabanski gives a check swing on the 1-1, and the home plate umpire asks for some help from the middle infield umpire and gets it. He said he swung. 1-2. Lanzer on top of Grabanski.
Kind of crazy that because there's just one field umpire, they let the field umpire standing at second choose. Home plate umpire has a better angle at that.
True. 2-strike offering. That's high. Make it 2-2. Grabanski, a Concordia University product, and was the Great Plains Athletic Conference Player of the Year this season. He faces the 2-2 and rips it into left field. Getting under it is Shane Williams. Throw home, not going to be on time, but it's now a tie game after Grabanski's sac fly. gets Gomez Jr. home. And that's only a single, and Gomez Jr. scores on the next batter. Just so good on the base paths. It's very hard to limit his run production. Arispero, the fourth hitter of the inning. If Lanzer gets this out, this will be his longest outing of the season. First pitch is swung on and missed on by Arispero. The University of North Georgia player during his school year. 0-1 from Jake. Looping breaking ball that gets over the plate. 0-2 advantage. So fly out to the right fielder his last time up. Another off-speed pitch misses outside from Lanzer. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Arispero. He swings at the 1-2, fielded on a backhand by Holcraft. Bouncing throw, takes 2 before it gets to Murdoch and squirts out of his glove. It's an infield single, most likely, for Arispero. Tyler, I don't know how you could call it anything else, right?
It was called an error, actually. I believe so, if I'm looking at things correctly. There was only one E on the board.
I think you're right.
Now there's 2.
I don't agree with that, I have to say. I love the people to the left of us who are in charge of the scoring, but I can't say I agree with that call. I don't think the average player makes that play. You know, he had 1 foot in the outfield grass. It's a tough throw. Regardless, error or single, a runner's on first base with 2 outs against Jake Lanzer. C.J. Phelps, the batter, he takes a high outside fastball to make it 1-0. Phelps struck out swinging to end the first inning. Lanzer going to check back at first. No tag applied by Jay Murdoch. Lanzer dangles over the mound and comes home with the 1-0. Fastball is high and inside this time. Make it 2-0. Phelps, a Rochester native, attends Monroe Community College and went to McQuaid Jesuit. Sort of the bingo card for the Rochester Ridgemen this season. Before he can take the 2-0, Lanzer once again throws to first. Arispero not showing much of a little bit of a lead. And with Lanzer being a lefty, it's very much so in his peripheral. So maybe more likely to throw to first. Finally comes home with the 2-0. Breaking ball over the plate. Arispero's going, and before Riley could throw it, he lost it on the transition from glove to hand. It almost looked like the umpire was a part of it there. Not like it was his fault even, but almost like a freak play where the glove hit off the umpire. I couldn't quite tell.
I didn't see that. I don't know. Anything's possible.
Lanzer's 2-1. Chopper right back to Lanzer. He turns and fires to first. Low throw, but Murdoch has no trouble controlling it. And after 2.5 innings, it's 3-3 between Rochester and Syracuse. We'll be back for the bottom of the third. Bottom of the third inning here at the Onondaga Baseball Complex. The Salt Cats and the Ridgemen in a battle right now. Right now, this is the first and second place team in the NYCBL East Division.
It's the first and second team actually in the entire
In the
NYCBL.
entire league, yeah. As the West Division has struggled. Still Wagner out there, and his first pitch is fouled back to the left of Jay Murdoch. Oh, 1 from Wagner. Chopper. Stechow has it. Throws to first to retire Murdoch. Quick and easy out to get the inning started for Wagner.
Next to bat, the third baseman, number 5, Christopher Holcraft.
Holcraft flew out to the center fielders last time up. It's Murdoch, Holcraft, and Caruso due to bat in this inning. Holcraft takes a strike from Wagner to start the at-bat. Chris hitting .377 near the top of the team. He slashes one over to the first baseman, Phelps, and he'll take it himself. Wagner looking, or potentially, if he can get a quick out of Caruso, by far his least labor-inducing inning so far.
Next to bat for the Salt Cats, the designated hitter, number 16, Jacob Caruso.
Caruso takes the first pitch low. It's 1-0. He grounded out to the second baseman the first time he batted in the first inning. Wagner gets a called strike. It's 1-1. This time Caruso takes low in the strike zone, and it's called 1-2. Wagner 1 strike away from the 1-2-3 inning. He delivers home. Breaking ball, called strike. Bradley Wagner, his first 1-2-3 inning of the day, and he helps Rochester stay tied with the Salt Cats heading into the second third of this NYCBL matchup. We'll be right back for the top of the fourth. Jake Lanzer has already exceeded his most innings pitched of the season with 3, and he's back out for inning number 4.
Leading off the fourth for the Ridgemen, the center fielder, number 5, Alec Blakestad.
He gets 6, 7, and 8 in the Rochester order. Blakestad, Eisenogel, and Nolan. Lanzer comes home And gets a swing and a miss out of Blakestad. Blakestad struck out swinging to start the second inning. Lanzer would be perfectly happy with a similar result to start the fourth. Lanzer at 57 pitches now. His 0-1, fastball taken outside. One breaking ball, just a bit high, a little above the numbers, or lettering rather, to make it 2-1. Blakestad 0 for 4 yesterday and 0 for 1 today at OCC as he swings through a breaking ball and gets the count to 2-2. Blakestad started the season very nicely, but since it's been a struggle, he's 2 for 27 in the last 9 games. Before today, he cues one down the first baseline, but it goes foul prior to Jay Murdoch scooping it up. Count stays even at 2.
It's going to be interesting to watch how long Lanzer stays in this game now that he is testing his length and he didn't play at all during this college season at St. John's. He hasn't thrown this many innings in this territory now, over 3, since his high school days, which is well over a year ago. We're really going to get to see what his endurance is like now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting also if this inning goes well to see if he comes out for the 5th. His 2-2 inside to Blakestad. Count goes full. And this is one way to make sure that he won't be going into the 4th inning, or the 5th inning rather, is throwing balls outside and getting to 3-2 counts. This 3-2 count turns into a walk. Fastball missed outside and high. And that brings up Dustin Eisenogel.
The catcher, number 2, Dustin Eisenogel.
Eisenogel singled in the second, but was caught stealing to end the inning in a kind of a peculiar pickoff play. Runner on first, no outs, top 4. Lanzer fires and he nails Eisenogel in the left knee. And what a trooper the catcher is. He ran to first base, now kind of hobbling around. I mean, that hit him directly in the knee. And he seems to be in a little bit of pain, but he's jumping around. It's more like, seems like at least shock pain, if you will, where it just doesn't feel great because, a lot in part because you weren't expecting it also. I mean, Lanzer has an arsenal of pitches. He doesn't throw particularly slow.
And so that finally brings the meeting at the mound between Evan Plant, the pitching coach, and Lanzer. You know, he's hit 2 batters in the last 2 innings. That's where, you know, you start to get concerned with the control. We'll see what happens going forward. But we mentioned, and I don't mean to jinx him, but he is testing his endurance. He's testing how long he can keep his accuracy, keep his velocity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised at all to see some pretty serious warming up going on in the Saltcats bullpen. Can't quite get a name for you yet.
Looks like Ben Junker.
We haven't seen him pitch in a while.
He was injured for a while. He actually did appear against Rochester, as Lanzer's first delivery to Cade Nolan is a fastball that gets the high inside corner rather. He goes ahead 0-1. Jake comes home with the 0-1. Misses way outside. Nolan was squaring up to bunt, but it was a moot point. He pulls it back to make it 1-1. Nolan actually pitched against the Saltcats on opening day for Syracuse. 3 innings pitched, no earned runs, 2 hits. 1-1 from Lanzer. Once again, Nolan squares up to bunt, but he pops it back. And now 2 strikes to the man who was very willing to sacrifice himself via the bunt. We've seen situations like this for the Cats where the sign is still bunt on 2 strikes. We've also seen different situations where you'll come and swing here. It looks like Nolan's readying to swing. Lanzer offers the 1-2. It's outside. Throw to third on the double steal. Gets him. What a play and what a tag to get Alec Blakestad at third. And that's a way to help your pitcher. And Tyler, it's almost like I feel great about it, but I'm also scared because that was a very similar play, a double steal first and second, a second and third, with Riley throwing to third. Last time that ended up in 2 runs. So
It did, but now you have 1 out with 8 at the bat and 9 coming up. You have a chance to escape this inning before you get to the top of the order.
Nolan, with a 2-2 count, fouled one back to stay alive. So it was a stolen base by Eisenogel and a caught stealing for Blakestad at third. It's now 2-2, 1 out to Nolan. Here comes the pitch. Swung on and missed. Jake Lanzer gets a huge out, and there are 2 outs in the top of the 4th.
Just like I said, you get Nolan out now, and it all comes down to Stachow, the second baseman. He reached on a fielder's choice. It was a lazy ground ball in the second. And so now you escape the inning and maybe you sub out Lanzer at this point if he's able to get out of it and give the top of the lineup to a new guy.
Stachow is the 9-hitter, but again, a guy who, coming off a really good college season, wasn't able to translate it, or hasn't been able to, into NYCBL hitting as he swings through a curveball from Lanzer, 0-1. Stachow has been turning a corner a little bit, hits in his last 2 games, trying to get his first 3-game hitting streak of the year tonight. Lanzer comes home, and it's sliced down the right field line and out of play. 0-2 advantage for Jake. Stachow hit a triple last night against the Spartans. It was his first extra base hit of the season. A single here could still get him an RBI. 0-2 from Lanzer. Slow tapper. Gaskin comes in. Fires to first in time. The Salt Cats get out of the inning despite some crowded base paths, and Jake Lanzer is through 4 innings pitched for the first time this season. Charlie Benami alongside Tyler Aiken here at Onondaga's baseball stadium.
Off in the fourth for the Saltcats.
Shane Williams
22,
gets it
Shane
going in the fourth
Williams.
inning, the home fourth for the Saltcats. It's 7-8-9. Williams, Ryfogle, and Stokes to face Wagner, who's coming off his best inning of work. 1-2-3, 2 ground balls and a strikeout of Jake Caruso. His first pitch is outside to Shane Williams. Williams singled his last time up. This time he slices a breaking ball foul to even the count at 1-1. Wagner, a pitcher and a hitter, as we've mentioned before. 4 for 19, a 2.11 average as a hitter. As a pitcher, he missed outside with a fastball to fall down 2-1 to Williams. Comes home again. This time, he gets the inner third for a strike call. Two. That's low and inside. Count goes full for Shane. Shane, quick dribbler, fielded by Stechow. He's going to have to make a long throw, and Williams beats that out 10 out of 10 times. Shane Williams hits a single. He is now 8 for his last 13.
2 for 2 on the day, and a similar start to the fourth as it was for the second for the Saltcats. It was the bottom of the lineup, 7, 8, 9, that all got on or scored or picked up an RBI. Ryfogle, Stokes, if you can do that again, it really builds some more positive momentum for the Kitties.
100%. As that breaking ball gets over the plate to Jared Ryfogle, he took it looking. Ryfogle also singled his last time up, and he takes a pitch off the outside corner to go 1-1. Second inning was a big one for the Cats. 2 runs scored, got them the lead that they relinquished in the top of the third, but it started because of a really good play out of your 7, 8, 9 guys. Williams and Ryfogle both got singles, and Matt Stokes executed a really good bunt. Williams running. Pitch is taken for a strike. Throw to second will nab Williams. He's tagged on the head. And that's now 3 steals and 3 caught stealings for Shane Williams.
That's the downside. He scored a run last inning because he was aggressive on the base paths. This is where it comes back to bite him in the butt a little.
So now it's a 1-2 count to Ryfogle, and he takes a curveball over the middle of the plate, punched out by the home plate umpire. 2 outs for Bradley Wagner. So, if he gets this out, is this still considered a 1-2-3 inning? Because he gave up a hit?
No.
Technically,
most people
no,
would
right?
not. But you could say he faced the minimum is typically what I would say there.
Stokes fouled back the first pitch of Wagner's to the backstop. He had a sacrifice bunt his last time up. He swings at the 0-1 and lifts it into right field, drawing backwards and catching it is Arispero. And another quick inning out of Bradley Wagner. It's 3-3 heading into the top of the 5th. The Rochester Ridgemen and the Syracuse Saltcats, currently the top two teams by points in the NYCBL, are in a battle 3-3 as we get into the top of the fifth inning.
Leading off the fifth for the Richmond, the shortstop, number 3.
For Rochester, it'll be top of the order, Mills, Gomez Jr., and Grabansky. And again, Lanzer still out there for inning number 5. His first pitch is taken low by Cooper Mills. Mills walked in the first inning and struck out in the third. (1-0) from Lanzer, inside, make it 2-0. Last inning felt like it had really bad omen to it after Jake Lanzer walked the first batter and hit the second, but a strikeout as well as a caught stealing and a ground out helped him get out of it. It's 2-1 now to Cooper Mills. Mills in his second summer league. He played for the Muskegon Clippers last summer in the Great Lakes Summer Collegiate League. Struggled in that league, hitting .195 in 97 plate appearances. Much better in the NYCBL, .371 coming into today. 2-1 from Lanzer. Slow chopper. Holcraft cuts off the shortstop, throws to first, and makes the play.
Really smart move by Holcraft there, playing aggressive, charging the ball. Stokes was waiting back for it, so he took the reins and got the out. That was an impressive throw. Kind of makes up for, his late throw last inning that was ruled an error. You disagreed, but, that certainly makes up for it.
Get the out, and you help Lanzer in an account that he started out down in. Gomez Jr. singled and was hit by a pitch and stole 2 bases his last time up. Quick grounder hits to Stokes. Stokes sidewinds it over to Murdoch. And Jake Lanzer retires the first 2 batters with ground balls to the left side of the infield.
There we go. Stokes got his chance for the ground out. Both guys on the left side of the middle infield got theirs. Maybe Gaskin next. A 5-3, 6-3, and 4-3 to get through the inning.
Joey Grabansky hitting for the first time without a runner on base. He is flown out twice. One was a sac fly, though, in the third inning. First pitch to him is rocketed into left field, but into foul territory, giving chase to the boundary fence. Looks like that's Chris Carson now in left field. Didn't quite pick up on that when that substitution happened.
Well, it couldn't have been last inning because Shane Williams took an at-bat.
It might still be Williams. I saw that. I was talking about this with Austin, our other broadcaster.
12 versus 22, yeah.
Both play the outfield. Both are lefties. 2-1 to Grabansky, cued towards his right, or rather 0-1, to make it 0-2. So we'll have to see the next time Williams bats, or that spot in the order bats, but for now we'll still assume it's Williams. Two-strike delivery. Breaking ball gets a call. Jake Lanzer with a 1-2-3 inning to finish his 5th. He is through 5 with no earned runs. It's 3-3 heading into the bottom of the 5th. I'll hand it over to Tyler Aiken when we get back.
Halfway through this game, the Saltcats and the Ridgemen all tied up 3-3. Tyler Ricken and Charlie Benami on the call.
Leading off the fifth for the Saltcats,
Charlie,
second baseman,
did
number
you
3,
expect this game to be tied halfway through? I mean, Rochester is the 1 seed and Syracuse the 2, pretty close, but it seems like statistically there's a bit more of a gap.
Well, yeah, it's really Rochester and the rest of the league right now, and for that reason, I thought it might be a blowout just based on where Rochester is in the standings. I mean, they have 33 points, I think it is. 30-something, and nobody else is close. I mean, Syracuse is in second technically, but there are a bunch of teams in that 20-something point area along with the Cats.
Saltcats starting the 5th with the top of the order. Caden Gaskin up 2-1 in this count. Gaskin struck out in the first, but picked up an RBI single in the second inning. Saltcats scored 2 of their 3 runs in the second and did pick up 1 in the first as well. The 2-1 catches the outside part of the zone, and now it's 2-2 to Gaskin. Still Wagner on the mound for the Ridgemen. He's thrown 4 successful innings so far, allowing just 3 runs. Gaskin rips the 2-2 to third, and that one snagged by Nolan. And so Gaskin out for the second time today. That brings up his teammate Matt Rinaldi, who has had an even better day. 2 singles and a score for him, trying to keep the positive momentum going here. Takes a home run cut and misses on the first pitch from Wagner.
And just to go back to Gaskin for a second, one of those at-bats, you hit the ball hard. It's a good at-bat, just unfortunately right to the glove, but you're never mad at contact like that. He hit that one pretty hard.
A quality at-bat, as statisticians would call it. We've talked about that several times this year. The 0-1 to Rinaldi called a strike on the lower part of the zone, and he's down 0-2 early. Was 0 for 4 yesterday against the Silversmiths. Much better today, trying to avoid going back to that strikeout streak. The 0-2 low, that hits the ground, and Rinaldi stays alive. He's actually tied for second in the entire league with 20 strikeouts on the season, but when you take the most at-bats in the entire league, it's pretty tough to avoid that. He grounds to first, and that goes down as a 3U. Phelps steps on first, and Saltcats have hit the corners this inning and have gotten out twice because of it.
It really is tough right now. Based on where you're hitting the ball, you might expect to get some hits. Less on the Rinaldi play. But it's more tough because right now, Wagner's really in a groove, and now that he's feeling well about how he's pitching, it's just he's starting to rack up outs. That's his 7th straight out.
1, 2, 3 innings in the 3rd and 4th, and 2 outs here to start the 5th. Connor Riley, the catcher, up to bat with a 1-1 count. He took a ball low on that one. Riley 0 for 1 on the day, a fly out and a walk. Wagner deals outside. A frame attempt there by Eisenagel and couldn't get it into the zone, so a 2-1 now for the Saltcats catcher, who's up to bat. Wagner fires a liner over the dugout of the visiting side. That brings the count to 2-2. Wagner checks his brim and prepares for the pitch. One more would be his 3rd straight 1-2-3 inning. He doesn't get it. A ball inside almost hits Riley on that one. That pushes the count to full.
And it might just take one base runner to get Wagner off of his game.
Murdoch, Holcraft, and Caruso up next. But the payoff pitch comes outer half of the zone and actually outside of the zone. Riley reaches on a walk on a very close pitch. Wagner had pretty good location. It seems like that's where he wanted it, but the umpire just disagreed.
Yeah.
So let's see if it's one base runner that makes the difference. Riley at first. Jay Murdoch stepping up to the plate. 1 for 2 today with an RBI single in the first. And actually, Charlie, all it took was one base runner to bring a conversation on the mound for the Ridgemen.
And they do have some action going in the bullpen. And if my eyes are telling me right, it's actually a new addition to this team. Teron Williams out of Bellevue University. a high leverage reliever out of the NAIA. So Rochester certainly has some guys that they can go to in these types of situations.
So it doesn't seem as though a substitution is coming, just a conversation on the mound between the manager and the pitcher. Wagner staying in here to face Jay Murdoch. Just said he 1 for 2 with a RBI single. Connor Riley, the catcher at first, leads the league in steals by a catcher, so always a threat to move on the bases. A single on the first pitch he sees. Murdoch sends a one-hopper to center field. That's his second single of the day, and it advances Riley to second.
That's 2 hits on the day for Jay Murdoch, and we talked about how he'd been struggling to this point, so very good to see from him.
Chris Holcraft steps up to the plate. 0 for 2 today, but as you've mentioned before, Charlie, he's been hot as of late. Few doubles and a few home runs in the last week. And trying to find his first hit of the night. Wagner deals a ball low. Holcraft was able to restrain himself from swinging there. A glance towards second. Wagner takes a deep breath before firing away. This one a ball outside. 2-0 count now to Holcraft. Moderate leads at first and second for the Kitties. And that draws a throw to second. An errant one at that. Bounces off the glove. And Murdoch runs to second. Riley runs to third off the failed pickoff attempt. It looks like it was Cooper Mills that couldn't secure the throw from his pitcher Wagner. Now 2 runners in scoring position for Holcraft with 2 outs, though. It's still a 2-0 count for the Saltcats third baseman.
And with the way Holcraft is swinging the bat right now, I don't know if you want anybody else in this position.
Wagner deals this one in for a strike. Breaking ball catches the zone, and Holcraft wanted no part of it. Now a 2-1. Holcraft prepares for the pitch. He swings at it, a single up the middle. That brings in Riley. Murdoch turns the corner. A throw comes to home. The tag applied behind his back, and Murdoch slides in safely. A 2 RBI single for Holcraft. He advances to second on the throw, and the Saltcats reclaim the lead 5-3.
Just, first of all, clutch hitting by Holcraft. You knew what you needed to do. You got to get one up the middle, and that's exactly what he did. Then, you knew you were going to score that 1 run. Murdoch was a little tough, and he had to kind of slide under a tag a little bit, position himself right, and he's not the fastest guy, but he certainly got around the base paths on that one.
Riley scores from third. Murdoch scores from second on the single up the middle by Holcraft. 2 RBIs go in the books for him, and that will end the day of Bradley Wagner. He made it through 4 2/3 innings, and Charlie, I believe you were correct. That does bring in Taryn Williams. And so a pitching change here with the Richmond facing a 5-3 deficit now. We will step away for a moment as the pitcher gets warmed up, and make sure to stick with us for the rest of the 5th inning on the NYCBL Digital Network. Welcome back to the bottom of the fifth inning here on the NYCBL Digital Network. Syracuse just scored 2 more runs thanks to an RBI single from Chris Holcraft. A 5-3 over Rochester. Tyler Aiken and Charlie Benami on the call. It's a pitching change. Bradley Wagner's day is done, and this brings on Taryn Williams out of Bellevue University. A rising junior there. Did not pitch his freshman year, but Charlie had a very successful sophomore campaign. 15 appearances, 2-0 record along with 3 saves. Only allowed 12 hits, 5 earned runs, and that's good for a 2.45 ERA. That's strong numbers out of a sophomore in college.
Yeah, he had actually been at Highland Community College for a couple of years before and had struggled. He had an 8.3 ERA in his freshman year, and as a sophomore, 14.19 ERA. But a change of scenery did him well, and he had a great season.
So that brings up Jake Caruso, 2 outs, a runner on second for the Salt Cats. The first pitch from Williams, outside and low for a ball.
And it's
Pardon the technical difficulties there. Back in action, it's a 1-0 count for Caruso. Williams fires this one, sent up to the middle of the field. The shortstop grabs it, and Mills gets Caruso out to end the fifth inning, but not before the Salt Cats score 2 more runs. It's 5-3 Syracuse on top. Stick with us on the NYCBL Digital Network. Five innings down, 4 to go here on the NYCBL Digital Network. Syracuse on top of Rochester, 5-3. You got Tyler Aiken and Charlie Benami on the call. And still on the mound for the Salt Cats, it's Jake Lanzer, his longest outing since his high school days. Charlie, are you surprised to still see him out there, or is there maybe a reason he's going longer than usual?
Well, I floated this opinion to you before, and I believe that every other start Jake has made was when he was still in the transfer portal. Maybe one appearance that wasn't in the transfer portal, I think it was relief. So this is his first start, and I think now he has a coach who can put a pitching limit on him versus you were in the portal. You don't really know how much a potential coach is going to want you to pitch in the summer. So you got to be smart about that. The coaching staff was, and now he's getting some very necessary length for the Cats.
His new coach at Stonehill University, where he just committed to, must be pretty lenient, letting him go 6 here. Throws the first pitch to Arispero. That one's outside for a ball. So it's Jorge Arispero up first, the right fielder, followed by C.J. Phelps on deck, and Alec Blakestad, the center fielder, in the hole for the Ridgemen here. 1-0 count. Arispero lets another strike go by. Count bumps to 1-1. The Rochester right fielder is 0 for 2 on the day, flew out in the first and reached on an error in the third. Lanzer fires the 1-1. That one batted into foul territory. Had some power on that one. But Arispero down 1-2 early. The thought with Lanzer, maybe getting late into games could be an issue, but the fifth inning was his best. Went 1-2-3 with 2 groundouts and a backwards K. Goes for the K now, and it's a fly into left field, snagged by Williams. And the F7 keeps the positive momentum going for Lanzer. That's 5 straight outs that he's recorded.
And Lanzer, 3 runs, only one of them is earned 5 Ks to 2 base on balls. He's had some struggles with his control in previous outings. Just everything across the board. You have to be thrilled with it.
That brings up C.J. Phelps, the first baseman, another guy 0 for 2 on the day. Takes a ball outside on the first pitch he sees. Lanzer shaking out his left arm, his pitching arm, before this next pitch. Takes a deep breath and deals down the middle but low. And so Phelps now with a 1-1 count. Starting to get dark here in Onondaga Community College. Lights have been on for a minute. 2-0 is outside to Phelps. That was well outside. Might as well have been in New Jersey. I'm curious, as a Long Islander, because I know Long Islanders they feel a certain way about New Jersey. Would you agree that it's the armpit of America, or do you have a little bit more love for the state?
I don't hate Jersey. I think I hated Jersey, and then I watched Sopranos, which is essentially like Jersey, like the Jersey tourism unit almost. And now I like Jersey more.
No disdain. I appreciate it. So there's a fly into right field from Phelps. That one tracked down by Reifogel. And 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the 6th for the Saltcats and Jake Lanzer. I had heard that sometimes New Jersey people and Long Island people don't like each other. You know, maybe too similar. I don't know what it is. Because they're both kind of in that New York City vicinity as Blakestad takes a strike down the middle.
Certainly people in New York City and Jersey, especially like the Hoboken, like you got to cross the bridge to get into the city. And people in Hoboken will be like, I'm saving money on rent. And then the people in New York City will be like, or is that Jersey City that's across the bridge? Hoboken, Jersey City.
I try not to think too much about New Jersey.
Exactly. So whatever city is
geography.
right near is right off the bridge. There's some beef there for sure.
It's an 0-2 count to Blakestad. He fouled that last one off. Lanzer needs one more strike to get out of the inning. He fires a swing and a miss. 1-2-3 inning for the second time in a row by Jake Lanzer. He's aging like fine wine in this game, and so are the Saltcats. 5-3 headed into the bottom of the 6th inning. The Saltcats have shut down the Ridgemen in 2 straight innings and now trying to score for the 2nd straight inning. Got 2 in the 5th. And here in the bottom of the 6th, going against Taryn Williams for the first full inning. He recorded an out in his only at-bat that he saw. And has a pretty easy outing right here, getting to face the 7, 8, and 9 hitters for Syracuse. Up first, though, is a new hitter. You were right earlier, not in left field. It wasn't Shane Williams. It's Chris Carson, the guy that just joined the Saltcats after graduating high school. He's a lefty batter against Williams, a righty pitcher, and takes a ball outside on his first pitch. Carson's still looking for his first hit of the season. He's 0 for 4 with a walk and a hit by pitch, and did pick up an RBI earlier this week. Williams with the 1-0 inside, almost hit the foot of Carson. He dodges it, and that pushes the count to 2-0.
And these guys are both recent additions to the NYCBL. Like you said, Carson new, and this is Williams' first appearance.
Carson winds up his bat before this pitch, chops it towards second. The throw made by Stichow, and Carson will have to remain on the hunt for his first hit of the NYCBL season. 1 down, 2 to go for Rochester. Jared Reifogel, the right fielder, up next, and Matt Stokes, the shortstop, on deck. Reifogel 1 for 2 on the day. A single in the second he ended up scoring, and a backwards K in the fourth. Williams, a long knee windup and pitches, and Reifogel swings and misses, nowhere close to the ball. Fully extended arms on that cut. Williams rolling a bit. Fires the 0-1 and fires that one with a bit too much velocity. Bounces, goes over the glove of his catcher, Eisenogel. Hits the backstop, and the count pushes to 1-1. Next pitch, also outside for a ball, though Eisenogel able to handle that one and keep it from going to the backstop. And Saltcats right fielder facing a 2-1 count now. Sees the next pitch, which is over the middle, bats it into right center field, and a diving catch made in center. What a play from Alec Blakestad. Putting his body on the line to record the second out here in the bottom of the sixth.
And he was playing rifle a little bit towards the left part, so past second base the other way. He had to run a lot to get to that ball. I mean, just an impressive play.
That brings up Matt Stokes, the shortstop. Empty bases and 2 outs. Takes a strike on the outer half of the zone in his first pitch. He's 0 for 1 on the day, flew out in the fourth, and picked up a sac bunt in the second inning. The bottom of the lineup has not been as productive since then. Williams offers the 0-1. This one misses the zone. And Stokes now evens up the count 1 apiece. Williams takes a deep breath before the next pitch. He throws it and gets Stokes to swing. Took a little speed off that one, and the shortstop was tricked up. 1 pitch away from ending the 6th inning. Williams wants to head back to the dugout. Has recorded 3 straight outs. Make it 4 straight outs. A swing and a miss by Matthew Stokes. A 1-2-3 inning for Rochester. 4 straight outs on the mound from Taryn Williams. And the Ridgemen, trying to cling to a 2-run deficit, now have a chance to even the game up or maybe even take back the lead. Stick around for more here at Onondaga Community College. with 2/3 of this game done, Jake Lanzer still on the mound for the Salt Cats. Hadn't pitched 3 innings this year, now entering the 7th, and he's been productive. Allowed a hit in the first, 2 in the second, and in the previous 4 innings, he has not allowed a single hit. Charlie, that's impressive.
Leave me speechless almost. Jaw-dropping stuff out of Jake Lanzer. Again, especially for a guy who is pushing his limits so much. Like you mentioned, TA, he didn't pitch at St. John, so he's doing stuff he hasn't been required to do since his senior year of high school.
And so after 2 straight 1-2-3 innings, he gets to face the 7, 8, 9 hitters for Rochester, starting with the catcher, Dustin Eisenogel. And he finds a strike on the outer half of the zone there to start this inning off. Eisenogel 1 for 1 on the day. He singled in the second and was hit by a pitch in the fourth, but takes the ball right there to even the count at 1-1. Lefty pitcher, righty batter here. Lanzer likes the call from Riley. He rips one towards the plate and misses low. 2 straight balls from him. Lanzer has started to shake out his arm after every pitch, something to watch there as there's more warming up going on in the Salt Cats bullpen. 2-1 pitch is fired, and a swing on a ball well inside causes Eisenogel to start hopping. He fouled that one right off his shin.
And you have to feel really bad for Dustin there because he's the same guy who was hit by a pitch directly in the left kneecap. So not the best day ever for him.
Salt Cats trainer Doc Pissick stepping out of the dugout to check in on him. He's in a lot of pain holding his left leg. Trying to move it around, shake it out. He gave a fist bump to Doc Pissick. So Eisenogel shaken up, but still on his own 2 feet. And so for Rochester, it's Eisenogel, the 7-hitter, Cade Nolan, the 8-hitter, and David Stachow due up this inning, 7, 8, 9, as we've mentioned. Doc Pissick headed back to the dugout, and seems like Eisenogel is okay. But he's taken a beating. Ball has hit his lower left leg twice in the last few innings.
And add that with just being a catcher.
You're
Ends
taking
up
a
in
lot
some pain. So, tough guy for sure.
All catchers are tough for sure. The 2-2 from Lanzer. Pushes it towards home. It's a breaking ball, and Eisenogel stays alive. A dribbling foul ball towards the home dugout. The Richmond catcher staying alive after a 2-2 count. Lanzer trying to work his 8th straight out, and he does a swing and a miss on some high cheese from Eisenogel. And that is the 2nd straight strikeout going back to last inning from Lanzer. K number 7 on the day.
The third baseman at number 10.
Has had, it's actually funny, he's had 1 strikeout in each inning, no more, no less. He's been consistent as a good pitcher, but just consistent in that weird sense.
Mm-hmm. And that was pitch number 96, Tyler. So Lanzer's really pushing.
That was a breaking ball outside to Cade Nolan. That's a 1-0 count for him. The Richmond third baseman is 1 for 2 on the day with a single and a strikeout. Second pitch of the at-bat comes towards the plate. Ball inside and a 2-0 advantage for Nolan. So next pitch should be 99 from Lanzer. That's actually how many pitches it took for the perfect game from German on the Yankees the other day. 99 pitches through 9. That was pitch number 99 through 6 1/3.
I'll call that the only cool thing about Domingo Germán throwing a perfect game.
A 3-0 count here. Big advantage for Nolan, and a 4-pitch walk. He flips his bat towards his dugout, jogs towards first after a ball outside. First base runner that the Ridgemen have seen since the 4th inning. Last guy on base was Alec Blakestead, who walked in the 4th.
Wyatt Braun up in the bullpen right now for the Salt Cats. He would be another lefty to stack on top with Lanzer.
Dave Stachow, the second baseman and the 9-hitter up to bat, takes the ball up and away on the first pitch he sees. Hit into a fielder's choice in the second and grounded out in the 4th. Lanzer, the lefty, has a good angle at first, not a big lead from Nolan. So he fires in the 1-0, and this one catches the zone. Stachow didn't even bring his bat off his shoulder. So now a 1-1 count.
And after 5 straight balls, you know it feels good to hear the called strike.
Lanzer tosses the next one up and away. Starting to lose control a bit. There's been a few hit batters on each team today. Wyatt Braun, who's warming up for the Salt Cats, is actually tied for second in the entire league with 5 hit batters this year. So nobody's safe if he ends up getting subbed in, and nobody's safe at all. I mean, it's summer college baseball. There are plenty of hit batters. Another ball inside to Stachow puts the count at 3-1. I mean, there are 3 Ridgemen players that have been hit at least 4 times this year. So they've taken a beating.
It goes to show you, that it's not for the faint of heart, baseball.
It can be a contact sport at times. The 3-1 from Lanzer. This one's low. That's 2 straight walks. Nolan goes to second. Stachow goes to first. And it's not Evan Plant, the pitching coach, coming out of the Salt Cats dugout. It's the manager, Mike Martinez. And so this almost always means a substitution. He gestures towards the dugout. And we do believe that is Wyatt Braun entering the game for the Salt Cats. We will confirm that and watch warm-ups here for a second. We're going to take a short break, but stick with us on the NYCBL Digital Network. Welcome back to Onondaga Community College. Tyler Ricken and Charlie Benami here. We have confirmed it's Wyatt Braun headed to the mound to take on the Ridgemen's top of the lineup. Braun coming in to relieve Jake Lanzer, who had a marathon of an outing, made it through 6 1/3 inning, allowed a total of 3 runs and just 3 hits. And so Braun's stat line on the season: 3 games, 1 start, 9 2/3 innings pitched, 6 runs allowed, just 4 of them earned though, has twice the amount of strikeouts as walks and ranks in the top half of the team with a 3.72 ERA, which will come to use against Mills, Gomez, and Grabansky, who are up next. There's no outs and runners on first and second. One out, pardon me. Eisenogel struck out to start the inning. But not the greatest situation to be subbed into, although that's usually how it happens for relief pitchers. A glance towards second. Braun fires away. A breaking ball doesn't get Mills to go, and the umpire says that one missed the zone. And after just one pitch, meeting at the mound here between the catcher Riley and the pitcher Braun.
I like it from Riley, and I think it's because it's not necessarily that something was so wrong on that pitch. Didn't see anything that would suggest that anything was completely off. But just, runners on first and second, one out. It's a tough situation to come into. And I think Riley just giving some peace of mind to his pitcher could be very important.
1-0 count now for Mills. 0 for 2 on the day and a walk as well. Braun checks second twice. Pitches and hits the lower outside corner for a strike. His first of the day, and now the count reads 1-1. Moderate leads at first and second, and those will turn into second and third. A passed ball bounces over the head of the catcher, Connor Riley. And so now 2 runners in scoring position, Cade Nolan at third and David Stachow at second.
Huge passed ball, because you take the double play out order, that could have probably been your best friend.
2-1 count. Runners at second and third. Cooper Mills up to bat. The Richmond shortstop takes another ball up and away. 3-1 count, and one more ball would load the bases. There's an empty bag over at first.
Not only would it load the bases, but for Rafael Gomez Jr.,
who leads the league in batting average, well over 400. The 3-1 offering just low and in, misses the zone, and Mills walks to first, the third straight walk for the Salt Cats pitching crew. And up walks Rafael Gomez Jr. We've deemed him the MVP of the league so far. 1 for 2 today with a single, reached on a hit by pitch, and a ground out. Has scored twice. Both times he's reached the bags. Gomez takes the ball inside on his first pitch. Also leads the league with 17 runs batted in and can add to that total now. 3 runners on the bases, a 1-0 count, but a big whiff from Gomez Jr. And Braun avoids making the count 2-0 on the mound. It's 1-1, 1 out, and bases loaded. The infield playing in for the Salt Cats. Double play, back in play, and it's a high fly ball into right field. Reifvogel has to run back for that one. That's out number 2. All the runners going. He throws to second base, and everyone slides safely. Nolan scores to Chow to third, and Mills to second. The Salt Cats lead cut from 5-3 to 5-4. Oh, inaccuracy on the scoreboard there. Said 5-5, but it's not. Still 5-4, and now 2 outs. The Salt Cats need just one more, with runners on second and third after the flyout from Gomez. Joey Grabansky up to bat. He's 0 for 3 on the day. Takes a ball low on his first pitch. And so now Braun protecting a 1-run lead instead of a 2-run lead. 5-4 is your score, Salt Cats over the Ridgemen.
And granted, you're not too happy about giving up the run. It's not the worst thing in the world if you can just get this guy out.
A swing and a miss from Grabansky pushes the count to 1-1. That was a home run swing there.
I mean, when you hit 27 homers in 58 games, isn't every swing a home run swing?
I'd argue, yeah,
Yeah.
probably. 1-1 pitch from Braun. This one bounces on the plate, reaches the backstop, and Stachow jogs home to tie this game up at 5-5. That's the third pass ball this inning, fastball or wild pitch. It's been a mixture of both. Some miscommunication and some chemistry and other types of errors between the pitchers and Connor Riley behind the plate. Now just one runner on, Mills at third, and 2 outs, a 2-1 count for Grabanski at the plate. Another whiff there, evens the count at 2 apiece. Just one more strike to escape the inning. But I've already gone from a 5-3 lead to a 5-5 stalemate. A swing and a miss. 3 of those from Grabanski. That ends the inning. 3 outs here in the top of the 7th. It's tied 5-5 now, though. Syracuse pressure back on to get the lead back.
Our very own clock music plays God Bless America.
It's the top of the Saltcats lineup in the bottom of the 7th. Syracuse has led twice in this game, and Rochester has tied the game up twice. And so now Syracuse forced to score at least one more run to win this game. It's tied 5-5. Still on the mound for Rochester's Taryn Williams, and stepping up to bat for his 4th plate appearance is Caden Gaskin. Williams fires a pitch that is bunted by Gaskin, sprints to first, but the throw is made to beat him out by Eisenogel. Gaskin was going for a hit on a bunt and just couldn't make it happen despite his speed, Charlie.
Yeah, it was a close play, but very rare that you see a team make that play even. So, credit to the Ridgemen.
Gaskin retired for the 3rd time today. He's 1 for 4. His teammate Matt Rinaldi is 2 for 3 with 2 singles and is up now with 1 out and no one on base. Williams winds up and fires a strike on the outer half of the zone to the Saltcats center fielder. Righty pitcher, lefty batter here. Rinaldi prepares for the 0-1. Sees it and doesn't want it, although it's a strike in the exact same spot. Rinaldi down 0-2 on 2 called strikes.
Williams, we're getting to know him now as a guy who really just pounds the zone. Not very many balls.
Williams with the 0-2. It's cued to the first baseline. Rinaldi stays alive on a very inside pitch that he half swung at. An 0-2 count still. Williams with 1 strikeout through 5 outs and looking for his second. He fires the 2-strike pitch, and this one whiffed on by Rinaldi. It is the second strikeout of the day for Williams, pardon me. And so 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the 7th inning. Williams has only thrown for outs. He's seen 6 batters. All of them have been retired, including 2 here at the top of the lineup. And now it's the 3-hitter Connor Riley's turn. Saltcats catcher 0 for 1 on the day with 2 walks as well. Back to righty on righty action, and Riley takes a ball well outside to start this at bat.
And Williams striking out Rinaldi on 4 pitches. That's impressive. He's really just been impressive in his debut for the Ridgemen.
The 1-0 outside, but it does draw a swing from Riley. Evens the count at 1 apiece. Williams has liked to feed the outside half of the plate, and sometimes even more outside than that. The 1-1 offering swung on and missed on again by Riley. And Williams just 1 strike away from getting out of this inning unscathed yet again. Saltcats have not scored since the 5th. And that has allowed the Ridgemen to come back and tie it at 5 runs apiece. The 1-2 pitch outside. The umpire shakes his head at the frame by Eisenogel. And so Riley stays alive with a 1-1 here. 2-2, pardon me. Wind up, pitch, ground ball to second. The throw from Sachow over to Phelps is good. A 1-2-3 inning for the Ridgemen. And headed into the 8th inning, it's still tied up. A 5-5 stalemate between Rochester and Syracuse. Stick around to find out who comes out on top. Seven innings down, 2 to go here at Onondaga Community College. And pitcher number 3 for the Saltcats entering the game, Luke Prokosh, entering his team-leading 6th appearance, all in relief, has thrown 7 innings so far. 6 runs allowed, all of them earned. A 9 strikeout to 5 walk ratio. And that's resulted in a 7.71 ERA, but he has come up big in a few moments, sometimes just a few pitches or a few batters that he has to face. But now coming in with 2 innings left, might be the closer. We'll see. Mutz is unavailable. Carrozza pitched somewhat recently. It'll be interesting to see how long Prokosh lasts. You never know with Salt Cats pitchers. It's the 4, 5, and 6 batters coming up for the Ridgemen. Jorge Arispero, CJ Phelps, and Alec Blakestad. Tyler Aiken and Charlie Benami on the call if you're just joining us here on the NYCBL Digital Network. All tied up 5-5 between Rochester and Syracuse. Top of the 8th, Rochester up to bat. And Prokosh preparing for his first pitch, which he fires in for a ball well high. Arispero 0 for 3 on the day, although he did reach in the 3rd on an error. Prokosh with the 1-0. Winds up, deals, and this one catches the zone on the outer half, but in there nonetheless to even the count at 1 apiece. The Ridgeman right fielder swings at the next one and fouls it over the backstop. Down to his last strike already. It's a 1-2 count.
Prokosh, the first righty that the Ridgemen have seen all day, was Lanzer, followed by Braun for the first 7 innings, both lefty pitchers.
Prokosh is 1-2, well outside. Riley didn't even try to frame that one. Now it's 2-2. Prokosh liked what Riley called from this time. Takes a deep breath, offers the 2-2. It's golfed into shallow right field, and it's the second baseman, Caden Gaskin, that tracks that one down. Beat the right fielder, Ryfogel, to it. Another out here in the top of the 8th. 2 more to go. Phelps now stepping up to the plate, who's 0 for 3. And I don't want to jinx it, but we're getting in the territory where I feel like it's my obligation to let the viewers and listeners know it's an NYCBL policy. You play 1 extra inning, no matter what the score is. If you're still tied, then the game ends in a tie as Phelps swings and misses on his first pitch. So this game equalized 5-5. Will go to a 10th inning if it's still tied. However, if it's 5-5 after 10 innings, then that is the final score, and the game ends in a tie, which unusual for baseball, but that's just how it is. A ball outside puts the count at 1-1. Phelps has struck out, grounded out, and flew out. He's done it all but get on the bases today. Swings and misses again. Fell down to his back knee on that one. And now trails 1-2 in this count. Prokosh needs 1 more to pick up the second out of the inning. Fires, and that one's low and away. Phelps stays alive. 2-2 count now. Riley adjusts behind the plate and takes a ball outside. That one a bouncer. This count has now run full. First one we've seen in this game for a while. People have been pretty aggressive, swinging early in at bats. Phelps showing some patience here. Prokosh with the payoff pitch. A swing and a miss. Phelps thought it hit the ground. Riley scooped it up before it did. And that's 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. 2 up, 2 down for Prokosh. It brings up Alec Blakestad, the Rochester center fielder. He's 0 for 2 on the day with 2 strikeouts and a walk.
Worth noting that Prokosh, another guy who just recently committed to college, committed to Mercy. He'll join Scott Sheppy and Ryan Errett from this Salt Cat pitching staff at Mercy. Ryan Gonzalez also was a Mercy player. He's transferring to Spring Arbor University, though, so they won't overlap.
Ball up and in to Blakestad on the first pitch. A 1-0 count for the Rochester center fielder, and now a 2-0. This ball on the opposite end of the zone. Coutuo finally finds the zone. Prokosh gets it into the outside corner. About knee level on that one. Blakestad didn't want it. Count goes to 2-1. Another ball low. This one, I was about to say in the dirt, in the turf here at OCC. Now a 3-1 advantage.
It's an easy thing to mess up.
Another ball outside. That's a 5-pitch walk with 2 outs on the line. Prokosh lets Blakestad reach, and it brings up the catcher, Dustin Eisenogel. Eisenogel has 2 outs and a runner on, and is 1 for 2 on the day, a single, a strikeout, and a hit by pitch. The last time he was up, which was actually just last inning, he started it off. He fouled one off his leg, his left leg. That's where he was hit in his previous at-bat, so he's certainly taken a beating today. Let's see how that affects him in this one. Sizable lead at first for Blakestad, but a strike thrown from Prokosh and no movement from first to second. Oh, 1 pitch, too low to Eisenogel. Now the count's 1-1. Two shakes of the head for Prokosh. Doesn't like what Riley's calling for him. They finally agree on something. Glances towards first. Throws the pitch, a ball outside. And a steal attempt that Riley can't get his ball out of the glove quick enough. And so reaches on a catcher's indifference. Blakestad now in scoring position at second. That was the second time today Connor Riley didn't make a throw because he couldn't get the ball out of his glove.
Really struggling with that transition.
The 2-1 outside now becomes 3-1. Cade Nolan on deck and David Sachow in the hole, the 8 and 9 hitters for the Ridgemen. Prokosh fires in a pitch. This one in the zone, right down the middle. Eisenogel didn't want it, and now he has to deal with a full count. A glance towards second, but the pitch coming soon from Prokosh. The payoff pitch that it is. A strikeout from Eisenogel ends the inning. A little bit of scariness for the Salt Cats, but no runs surrendered. 5-5 entering the bottom of the 8th. 6 more outs for the Salt Cats to work with. Entering the bottom of the 8th here, the Salt Cats trying to reclaim the lead, a 5-5 tie right now with the Ridgemen. Still on the mound for the Ridgemen is Taryn Williams. He has yet to allow a batter to reach the bases. And the Salt Cats have the 4, 5, 6 hitters up next. Jay Murdoch, the first baseman, leading off. He's had a day, 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run to his name. And before much action even gets going, a conversation between Eisenogel and Williams on the mound. Murdoch singled in the first with an RBI that sent the first run of the game in. Grounded out in the third, but then singled in the fifth and scored a run. Chris Holcraft and Jake Caruso on deck and in the hole respectively have gone a combined 1 for 6 today. Williams finally throws the first pitch at the bottom of the 8th, and a big whiff from Murdoch. He was ahead of that one.
You could tell when Murdoch was at the end of his swing and the ball still hadn't passed, he realized that was a bit of a miscalculation on his end.
Murdoch winding his bat before the next pitch. Swings at it, a grounder towards second base. Throw made towards first, and it beats Murdoch out. Stachow had to move a bit for that one towards first, but makes the play nonetheless. He's had an active day. He's actually recorded the previous 2 groundouts and an out each in the past 3 innings. That brings up Chris Holcraft, the Syracuse third baseman, has empty bases ahead of him, which is unfortunate because the last time he was up, picked up a 2 RBI single, but was retired his previous 2 plate appearances. Williams fires in a ball low and away to Holcraft.
Williams has been working super efficiently. 9 more strikes than balls and only less than 30 pitches in 2 2/3 innings.
1-0 count, 1 out and no one on for the Salt Cats, and another ball low and away that sneaks past Eisenogel, the catcher. Did get a glove on it, couldn't squeeze. Holcraft at an advantage in this at-bat. Righty pitcher, righty batter on this one. Next pitch is sent into left field, a lazy fly ball that is pretty easily tracked down by Gomez Jr. out there. And 2 more outs for Williams in this inning. 2 straight in this inning, a 1-2-3 in the 7th, a 1-2-3 in the 6th. Also recorded the last out of the 5th. So if I'm doing my math right here, Charlie, he's thrown 9 straight outs.
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, he's certainly been... I'm not surprised in hearing that, essentially. He's looked that good and has seemed to be ahead of the hitters in that manner.
Draws a swinging strike from Caruso, who's 0 for 3 on the day. Empty bases, an 0-1 count, and 2 outs. The Salt Cats DH takes a ball outside on the next one. 1-1 here. Williams' longest outing in college this year was 2 2/3 innings. He is above that already as he throws a strike on the outer half to Caruso, who didn't swing. 1-2 count, just a strike away from ending the 8th. Already a long outing for Williams. Trying to extend it. The 1-2, outside, Caruso checks and did not go. Stays alive with a 2-2 count. The 2-2, this one swung on a foul ball towards the visiting dugout and bounces off the net. So that one ruled a foul ball and Holcraft stays alive. Caruso, pardon me. Caruso grounded out in the first, struck out looking in the third, and grounded out again in the 5th. He was actually the first out of Williams' day. He grounded out 2 Williams. Now facing him for the second time. He's been successful since. A check swing. Caruso goes. He went around. Another 1-2-3 inning for the Ridgemen. They've been on fire, but can they keep that fire on the offensive end and reclaim the lead? Oh, stick around. Eight down, 1 to go, and this one is tied at 5-5. 3 outs each for each team to try to take a lead, or else we're going to that 1 extra inning they play in the NYCBL. Still Lucas Prokosh on the mound for the Kitties, and the 8, 9, and 1 hitters due up for the Ridgemen. Kid Nolan, the third baseman, up first, who lets a strike go by in the first pitch from Prokosh. Nolan 1 for 2 on the day, a single, a strikeout, and a walk in that order. Facing Prokosh for the first time here, though. Down 0-1. Next pitch, he fouls off. A dribbler down the first baseline, and down 0-2 in this count already. Dave Stichow, the 9-hitter and second baseman, up next, and it's the leadoff hitter, Cooper Mills, in the hole. Prokosh doesn't like the first call from Riley, hasn't been afraid to shake his head at pitches, and fires the 0-2 anyways, this one high. Maybe you should have listened to Riley. It's impossible to say.
Yeah, I mean, 2 strikes, 0-2 count, you're probably trying to get somebody to chase anyways. It's, like you said, hard to tell.
Prokosh ready for another one, though. The 1-2 inside, almost hit the hand of Nolan. The count all even again. Caden Gaskin, the second baseman, playing deep. His feet are in the outfield. Prokosh fires the 2-2, and a swinging strikeout there gives the Ridgemen just 2 more outs to work with in regulation. Can I say regulation in baseball? Does that play? Does that work?
I think so. Regulation and then extras. So, yeah.
You know, I'm going with it. Now up the second baseman, David Stichow. No one on and 1 out for him.
Every time you pronounce that name, I think of Lightning McQueen.
Ka-chow.
Yeah.
I made that joke before the game, actually. Stichow trying to go ka-chow on this at bat, but takes a ball or strike looking there to start it off. Stichow facing the 0-1 and takes the ball high. Count moves to 1-1. A high fly ball behind home plate. The catcher, Connor Riley, almost misjudges it, falls onto his bottom, but makes the out nonetheless. Retires David Stichow. And that's 1 out left now in normal innings for the Ridgemen, but it is the top of the order, Cooper Mills, a guy that's 0 for 2 with 2 walks today. There is some warming up going on in the Ridgemen bullpen, so we might not see Taryn Williams step back up onto the mound. But first, we got to get through the top of the ninth, and Prokosh off to a good start for out number 3 with a strike on the outer half of the zone. If the Salt Cats can figure things out here, it'll be Shane Williams, Jared Reifel, and Matt Stokes. Actually, Chris Carson in place of Shane Williams. The 6, 7, 8, and 9 hitters due up in the bottom of the ninth. Ball thrown there. Count goes 1-1 to Mills.
And usually that would feel like a bad thing, but that part of the order is really produced today.
Prokosh fires away in the zone. Foul ball down the first baseline and into foul territory, but down to his last strike. Prokosh loses the ball there while he tries to get set for the 1-2 pitch. No one on, so no runners advance. One more strike to end the 9th inning, and it is a backwards K. To the bottom of the 9th we go. The Salt Cats with a chance for the second walk-off of the season. Why not? It's the bottom of the 9th and a chance for a walk-off from Syracuse, tied 5-5 with Rochester. After a back-and-forth game, it's up to the bottom of the lineup to get it done. 7, 8, and 9, starting with a guy that hasn't picked up a hit in a Salt Cats uniform, Chris Carson.
Leading off the bottom of the ninth with Salt Cats, the left fielder.
0 for 1 on the day, 0 for 5 on the year. Facing off against Taryn Williams, a pitcher that has seen 10 batters and retired them all. Was subbed in at the end of the 5th, has been lights out since then. Can he push this game into extras? He fires a strike on the outer half of the zone to get it going. Carson didn't want it.
Carson's still on the schneid as a Salt Cat. Would be a great time to get your first hit.
Williams takes his time before this one. Offers the 0-1. This one a little too outside, and it evens at 1-1. Next pitch comes in the zone, and a rip and foul ball down the left baseline. Carson now down 1-2. Williams. Ready for the 2-strike pitch. He deals it in the zone, a bouncer towards the catcher. The foul ball helps Carson stay alive. Graduated high school less than 2 weeks ago. Now here trying to walk the game off or keep it going for the Salt Cats. The next 1-2 pitch comes in from Williams. In the zone, a check swing, and Carson rung up a strike on the lower half of the zone, and Saltcats do not agree with that one.
So now, I don't know if they called that a strike or they said he swung.
They called it a strike. You could tell he
Because he
punched
rung
him
him
out.
up. Yeah.
That brings up the right fielder and 8-hitter Jared Reifogel, 1 for 3 on the day with a single, strikeout, and flyout. 1 out and nobody on here in the bottom of the ninth. A deep breath and a pitch from Williams sent into right field. Not much movement forced out there from Arispero. And all of a sudden, that's 2 outs. And a new hitter for the Saltcats. I was just about to ask if we were going to see a pinch hitter late in this game, and we are. Instead of Matt Stokes, it's Aaron Sisto, who struggled earlier in the year but hit a 2-run bomb yesterday against Sherrill.
Granted, field dimensions are a little bit different.
Although
a lot of bit different.
He did hit a home run at OCC last year.
Yes.
2 outs, nobody on, bottom of the ninth, tied up at 5-5. Sisto, the pinch hitter in, takes the ball outside, hitting in place of Matt Stokes.
And Sisto's an aggressive swinger, a guy who's kind of almost always swinging for the fences, seemingly, so it's a good opportunity for him.
Williams trying to escape the bottom of the ninth here, down 1-0, sends in the next one, and a home run miss by Sisto on the next one. 1-1 count.
Just taking some vicious hacks right now.
Would be the first home Saltcats home run of the year if he can repeat his action from yesterday. Williams with the 1-1. That one down the middle, a breaking ball called a strike. Sisto didn't like the call, but nothing he can do about it. This game 1 pitch away from going into extras. Williams winds up, fires the pitch. It's a fly ball towards the third baseline. And the third baseman, Cade Nolan, makes the catch. What is better than free baseball? That's what you're getting this next inning. Just to remind you, it is 1 inning in the NYCBL. Inning number 10 will be the last one. So 6 more outs, and the game will be finalized. Tie, win, or lose, who knows? Stick around with us for extra innings here at OCC. A back-and-forth game that is all tied up at 5-5 between Syracuse and Rochester. Each team getting ready with the top or close to the top of their lineups. 2, 3, and 4 due up here in the top of the ninth for Rochester. But waiting for them in the bottom of the 10th is the 1, 2, 3 hitters for the Saltcats. Still on the mound for Syracuse is Lucas Prokosh. He's thrown 2 innings and starting his 3rd here, facing off against the best hitter in the league according to batting average, Rafael Gomez Jr., Rochester left fielder that is 1 for 2 today with a single, 2 runs, and an RBI. First pitch he hits into right field, and Reifogel tracks that one down. So 1 pitch, 1 out for Prokosh here with the most dangerous hitter in the league gotten out right away. That's got to be a sigh of relief for Prokosh, Charlie.
Yeah, because much like Gaskin for the Saltcats, Gomez Jr. is a disruptor on the base paths, and when you let him on first, it's almost a guaranteed scored run because you know he's stealing first and probably second. He had 27 steals in 21 games coming into today. So just a massive out for Prokosh to get.
He would always be in the back of your mind if he's on, but he's not. And that brings up the designated hitter, Joey Grabanski, who takes a strike on the outer half right there. Grabanski up, Jorge Arispero on deck, CJ Phelps in the hole if it comes to him. Prokosh with the 0-1, that one inside. Grabanski raised his arms and didn't swing. The last 2 outs of the game for Rochester here. No 11th inning, just one extra in this league. If they don't score here, would only play for a tie. Prokosh fires one past Grabanski. He beat him with a fastball, and the swing came late. 1-2 now from Prokosh. And the 1-2 rings up Grabanski. Painted the outer half. Grabanski didn't want it, and the umpire punches hard. That's 2 straight outs here in the top of the 10th.
And Prokosh has just gotten better and better this season. Started off rough, and now he just continues to lower his ERA. It reaches high as almost 20. But this 2 2/3 innings of no hit, no run ball, certainly lowering it.
Now below 7 as he takes on the 4-hitter for Rochester, Jorge Arispero, the right fielder, has 2 outs and no one on and takes a strike outside that he did not like. The right fielder 0 for 4 on the day. Flew out 3 times and reached on an error. The 0-1 on the inside and didn't catch the zone this time. He evened up at 1 apiece from Prokosh. Infield shifted towards the right. Arispero a pull hitter. Righty pitcher, lefty batter, and a ball goes to the left and out of the reach of Arispero, called a ball. 2-1 count now. And pardon me, it's actually not Arispero. He went 0 for 4, and so the Ridgeman wanted to switch up. It's actually Mason White at bat, but he flies out to Matt Rinaldi in center field. He overran that one, falls back to the ground, but records the out. Rochester's day is done offensively. Tied 5-5, 3 more outs in this game. The Salt Cats looking for a walk-off win. It is great offense versus great defense coming up in the last inning of this game. It's the bottom of the 10th. Rochester can only play for a tie. Tied 5-5 against Syracuse. And it is a pitcher in Taryn Williams who led his college in saves with 3 on the season and has thrown to 13 batters today in relief, has retired all 13 of them, but now faces the top of the Salt Cats order, Caden Gaskin, Matt Rinaldi, and Connor Riley. You couldn't ask for a better matchup here in the bottom of the last inning. A pitcher that's been shut down today, along with, at the very least, 3 really talented hitters for Syracuse. First up, Caden Gaskin. The Salt Cats star, the second baseman, prepares for the first pitch from Williams, which comes in the zone, a breaking ball that Gaskin didn't want. The second baseman 1 for 4 today with an RBI single and was put out 3 other times.
And Williams has started his season today with 13 straight outs recorded.
Looking for 14 here against Gaskin. Gets a grounder to third. A great diving play made by Nolan. Makes the throw to first. Cade Nolan with a web gem here in the bottom of the 10th. Makes the throw over to Grabanski, the designated hitter that is taking over at first. Gaskin put out 1 for 5 on the day, and it doesn't matter now. 1 out, nobody on for Matt Rinaldi, the center fielder, called the old timer. He's been on the Salt Cats for now 3 years, and hopefully that experience helps him here. Williams. The first pitch to Rinaldi. In the zone, no, just a little low. Rinaldi had the patience there. Read it better than I did. 2 for 4 on the day with 2 singles. Number 3 would be nice here. Williams fires in the zone, fouled off by Rinaldi. A light one into the catcher's chest.
And it's tough in situations like these. You already have 1 out. You don't know if you want to be too aggressive, try and draw a walk, help each other out. But in this case, I mean, it's Rinaldi. If anybody's going to give you a big hit, it could be him. So you'd expect aggressive swings.
No signs coming from the manager, Mike Martinez. He's going to let Rinaldi do his thing here. The 1-1 pitch. In for a swing. It's towards Nolan at third again. And another 5-3 on a nice, powerful throw from Cade Nolan. And now this game down to its last out. It all comes down to this, a back-and-forth game. It's tied 5-5. Bottom of the 10th, the last inning no matter what. And it's the Salt Cats catcher coming up to the plate, Connor Riley. 0 for 2 on the day, 2 walks, and 2 outs. Looking for hit number 1 here. Williams fires. It's batted into foul territory on the first pitch. Riley did have some power on that one. And if you're counting at home, the pitcher, Taryn Williams, has recorded 15 straight outs. Number 16 would end this game in a 5-5 tie. The 0-1 to Riley. Offered in. He lets it go, and it's a ball low and away for the Syracuse catcher. Count even at 1 apiece. If it comes to it, on deck is Jay Murdoch, and in the hole is Chris Holcraft. Williams fires, catches the zone. A breaking ball outside that Riley didn't want. Brings this game to its last strike. 1-2 count, 2 outs. Williams takes a deep breath, fires the 2-strike pitch. A swing and a miss sends the game. 16 outs on 16 batters from Taryn Williams. Saved the day for the Ridgemen. Able to come back for a 5-5 tie, but couldn't put in the game-winning run. And so after all of that, 10 innings played, the game is tied. 5-5. That's how it'll end, Charlie.
Yeah, you got to give all the credit in the world to Williams. His first NYCBL appearance ever. Throws 36 strikes and just 16 balls over 5 innings. Perfect innings. Faced 15 batters. Retired every single one of them. On the Salt Cat side, listen, would you have loved to win here? 100%. But the bottom line is you get a point against the top team in the league right now, and that's 1 more point than the team that you're jockeying in that 2nd and 3rd spot with the Cortland Crush have against the Ridgemen. So it's a big tie. You would have loved to win, but these teams meet again fairly soon. So promises to be competitive. 6-5 and 5-5, the 2 totals.
An impressive play from both teams today. Syracuse and Rochester end in a 5-5 tie. If you want to see more Salt Cats baseball, you can tune in to the NYCBL Digital Network tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Charlie Benami and